Hey everybody, it's Galmadex and welcome to Midweek Magic Future Precons. This is this week's Midweek Magic event. These are the weekly free events where you get a few rewards for your first 3 wins. And this event is going to be showing us the new pre-constructed decks that will be added to Arena when the old ones rotate out. So when Dominar United launches in September, Zendikar Rising, Call Time, Strixhaven, and Adventures in the Forgotten Realms will be rotating out of Standard, which makes the old pre-constructed decks no longer legal in that format, so they'll be adding these pre-constructed decks to every account on Arena. Now the way that works is if you don't have something that you need to complete these decks, like Springleaf Avenger, Old Rutstein, or Old Stickfingers here, then those will be added to your collection, but if you already have 1 copy of each, they aren't going to give you a second copy. So not the greatest way to add more free stuff. It's mainly just making sure everybody can play with these decks, not really about giving us a ton of extra cards. So without further ado, let's get into some of the gameplay here. I'm going to be playing the blue-green ramp deck for the first game. This is a pretty self-explanatory deck. We've got some cards like Careful Cultivation, Jewel Thief to ramp us up a bit, and then we get Boseiju Reaches Skyward to make sure we can keep drawing the lands we need to cast our mountain of 6, 7, and 8 mana cards like Cleanup Crew, Hullbreaker Horror, Titan of Industry, and Colossal Sky Turtle. So it should be a pretty fun deck. We'll see how it runs here. So here we are in game 1 now. Bit of a risky keep in a ramp deck, keeping a 2-land hand, but it does have Jewel Thief to give us a treasure, Prize Fight to give us a treasure. Feels a bit risky even for my taste, though. I'm going to take the mulligan here. We definitely want a lot more lands than that. We even want more than 3 lands, especially when we don't have anything to play turn 2 or turn 3. But I think I'll have to keep this one and just drop the... Actually, Prize Fight doesn't do anything until we can get a creature on board. We don't know when that'll happen, so we'll drop the Prize Fight here. We're really just trying to hit that turn 4 Boseiju Reaches Skyward to make sure we have all the lands we need for the rest of the game. And thanks to drawing Thornwood Falls there, we'll definitely make it. Our opponent is on the blue-white deck. That's a deck with a lot of flyers and +1/+1 counters, and cards that will synergize with both. Zeus's Many Journeys is a little bit late, but still not a bad card here. It's going to let us play 2 lands this turn, which means that on turn 4, next turn, when we cast our Boseiju Reaches Skyward, we can immediately play a forest that we grab out of it. Also, if we top deck a land, we can just cast our Glorious Sunrise or Psychic Pickpocket, depending on whether or not our opponent plays a creature. And since they haven't played a creature, if we draw a land, I'll cast Glorious Sunrise. If we don't draw a land, I'll play Boseiju Reaches Skyward. So Thirst for Discovery has put our opponent at an 8-card hand here, so they're going to have to discard another card in their end step. Lion Sash it is. Alright, we did hit a land here, so I'm going to go for a Glorious Sunrise. I mean, is that very good without a creature on board? We can use it for mana ramp to buff our whole board, draw a card if we have a creature, or to gain 3 life. I think it's still probably good here. We can just gain 3 life this turn, but the main power is that we dumped our 5 mana into this, so it's at the ready once we do have a creature. Like next turn, our Zeus's Many Journeys will be a 3-power creature, so we can draw a card next turn. Or if we draw a big 7 or 8 mana spell, we can use this to make sure we have the mana to cast it. So this makes our plays next turn a lot more exciting, even if it only gains us 3 life this turn. Unfortunately, Borrowed Time looks pretty likely to exile it, but it looks like they'd rather exile a Zeus's Many Journeys. I'm pretty fine with that. We could bounce their Borrowed Time to be able to play another land if we draw into one. I mean, that's kind of cute. But it would give them another opportunity to potentially exile Glorious Sunrise and decide that wait a second, maybe I want to exile that one. So I'm actually not going to bounce a thing. I'm just going to get a creature on the board so I can start drawing cards off Glorious Sunrise here. Now, Cleanup Crew. I will absolutely use Cleanup Crew on the Borrowed Time. Blow that up and get our Zeus's Many Journeys back. Alright, well, we'll blow that up and get Glorious Sunrise back instead then. And then Giada, Font of Hope. So any angels our opponents cast are going to get +1/+1 counters on them. And we're just going to keep drawing cards here. Until our opponent's in a board position where we really need that trample to get damage through. But for now it's easy enough. If we attack into their 2/2, all they can hope to do is chump block, which is unlikely seeing as how good Giada is. And they do have the Inspiring Overseer in hand to cast afterwards. So that's now a 3/2 flyer. They gain a life, draw a card. This one will be a 4/3 flyer. They gain a life, draw a card. So now we should consider buffing our field with +1/+1 trample. Problem is really running out of stuff to do even with all the card draw we're doing. We're flooding out a little bit here. So I really don't want to run out of spells. I could just Careful Cultivation the Psychic Pickpocket, make it 5 power and 6 toughness so they can double block and kill either one of our creatures. But that's about it. Yeah, I'm gonna just still draw cards here. More land for us. Alright, we hit them down to 9 life here. Now that they're actually down to 9, the +1/+1 trample is looking pretty appealing. Angelic Quartermaster. Wow, yeah, the Giada has really just popped off for our opponent here. Putting a +1/+1 counter onto their angels for each angel they control, and then followed up with 3 more angels in a row. That is far from ideal for us. Plus Vigilance, so they have a blocker here. Actually, they have 3 blockers here because Giada has Vigilance as well. Colossal Sky Turtle is something. Is our best bet to hope that they block in a way where they die to us bouncing with trample? That might be our best bet, because like if we pass, they just kill us. Because we're at 15 life and they're going to kill us in the sky. I suppose we have a reach creature and a flyer. There's no way we win the long game here. Because they're going to put another +1/+1 counter with Homestead Courage, and they still have 3 more cards in hand. We have basically 1 because of all the lands we have. So I think we try to just trick them out of the game. I mean, we just go for it here, hope for the best. I mean, worst case scenario here, we still are stopping lethal with Colossal Sky Turtle. Even if we can't find a way to deal lethal damage to them, we can make sure they can't do lethal damage to us, because we are killing at least one of their creatures on this block here, and bouncing another one. Because they're dead on board, they have to block somewhere. And if they only block one thing, then we just win, because we bounce their creature and then trample over all of our damage. So I think, yeah, I think attacking here should work out. If they don't have removal in hand, then I think the worst case scenario here is like we're still not dead on board next turn, and then we just go for another +1/+1 trample attack next turn and try to finish it off there. Alright, opponent went AFK in the end. Just roped it out and just dealt all the damage there, so maybe something came up there. I think we had a good shot there, actually. It was looking really grim with the card disparity in terms of how many cards we had to play around with and how many cards our opponent did. But once I thought through that attack, it's like, what are their best on-board blocks here, really? Like maybe a 6/6 and 2/2 onto the 7/7 so that they can kill it without losing a creature. And then just take 6 and go to 3. in which case I could bounce the 6/6 and trample over for lethal. Their only way that they survive there with 9 life is to block with everybody, and if they block with everybody, then we bounce one of the creatures that they double block with and kill their whole board of untapped creatures. They're down to just Inspiring Overseer, and we don't lose a single attacker. So I don't think there was any way for that attack to go poorly for us, and then if our opponent doesn't have removal or a wrath, then next turn we just +1/+1 trample again, find that last few points of damage there. So Colossal Sky Turtle, being able to return a creature to its owner's hand at instant speed, I think makes that attack definitely the play. Get our first prize out of the Midweek Magic event. We've got a rare random reward. It is a Null Priest of Oblivion. Pretty fun card. Kind of weird, a little bit awkward that you can get Zendikar Rising rewards out of this event, because this event is all about the decks that are going to be showing up to prevent us from running out of cards when everything rotates out of standard, and I've just got a card that's going to rotate out of standard in September, but still a pretty cool card. It's pretty much always in the cube. It is fun in Reanimator strategies, and I don't have a problem with it. I'll take an Old Priest of Oblivion. So we've got a win with the green-blue ramp deck. Let's move on to another strategy here. I'm going to be playing the white-black deck, which is focused around artifacts and enchantments. You'd ideally like to have both card types on the board so that you can draw cards off of Kami of Terrible Secrets. You can create 2/2s off of Naomi Pillar of Order. I'm a little bit partial to this kind of strategy out of Kamigawa Neon Dynasty because there's a bit of a nostalgia for me even after such a short period of time, because this was the strategy I used in the only tournament I've ever got cash prizes out of in my life, the Arena Open event that was Kamigawa Neon Dynasty Limited. It was sealed day 1, draft day 2, I think. We ended up with a white-black artifact enchantment draft deck utilizing Naomi to great effect, and I got $1,000 out of that event. So we're going to be doing the nostalgia game here with a very similar strategy, black, white, artifacts, and enchantments here for game 2. Alright, here we are in game 2, and these are some of the premium cards you would want in this kind of deck in Kamigawa Neon Dynasty Draft. We're definitely going to keep here. We have turn 2 Spirited Companion to draw us a card and get an enchantment on our board to hit that card type. We also have Life of Toshiro Umezawa, which is phenomenal against 1 toughness creatures. Unfortunately, this is not the matchup for that card. We're going to be playing against the red-green Werewolves deck, which is going to have much bigger creatures than that. This card is absolutely disgusting against the red-black and green-white decks in this format, I think, because the green-white deck has a lot of 1/1 tokens, and the red-black deck also has a bunch of 1/1 and 3/1 tokens. So I'm going to get this artifact on the board so that we could hit both card types more easily. Now our opponent can sacrifice their Outland Liberator to blow up our 2/3. I don't think it would be worth sacrificing that to blow up our 1/1. Looks like they're just going to keep it around. They're going to get a little greedy with it, try to use it to destroy every time it attacks, which would be very good against our deck. Unfortunately for us, we don't have a second black mana, so there's not too much we can do about that. So actually, we're probably just auto-lose this game because they're going to blow up an artifact enchantment every single time they attack. Yeah, no, that's just the pre-sideboarded nuts card there that blows up more than half of the cards in this deck. Just on an attack trigger, they don't even have to spend a card to do it. What do we do without the black source here? Do I just send in the Circuit Mender and hope to -1/-1 their guard? No reason not to. We get a couple damage in here. It's not like it's really going to block. Oh, okay. Well, that makes me feel not so bad, because now our opponent has spent a card to blow up our Circuit Mender instead of just getting the attack trigger. Plus we drew in to Touch the Spirit Realm, so we can use this to get rid of the Trap Breaker. They can respond by killing our Spirited Companion. It's just a 1/1, so not a big deal, sure. We need to get this Trap Breaker off the board, so let's just use this. And as soon as we hit black mana, we'll have other ways to kill things, to remove threats. Very happy with how the Circuit Mender attack worked for us. And we are going to exile that under the Touch the Spirit realm, so that means our opponent is probably planning on drawing some more enchantment removal. Fangblade Brigand. It is still nighttime, so that card is absolutely terrifying. Still not doing well on the mana front here. We are in desperate need of that second black mana. Life of Toshiro Umezawa isn't going to do anything for us, so we just drop a Blade Blesser here and pass the turn. Probably going to have to chump block with Spirited Companion, so they can't hit us for a lot here with the abilities if they want. I guess it's only 4 damage here. They can make it 6 and we're at 22. No, we'll keep the Spirited Companion out a little while longer. It gives us some redundancy in the enchantment front, so if they do blow up Touch the Spirit Realm, we still do have an enchantment. Oh, this is really rough. We've drawn another double black card. Get another Blade Blesser, I suppose. Start hitting with these. I mean, they could double block a werewolf. The Blossom-clad werewolf, they can't double block a Viscerator because that can get first strike. Yeah, we're pretty far on the defensive here. We'll hold it back. Another Moonrager Slash. This is a pretty excellent start from opponent. Double Moonragers and the Liberator to keep our board clear. Yep, Wolf Strike. Make that block there. It makes it so our Twisted Embrace doesn't work if we do get the Black Source, but we have Soul Transfer and Assassin's Ink that will. Still don't have the Black Source, but we can cast Naomi and have a 4/4 down. Sure. This is a very rough game. We can turn things around like instantaneously whenever we hit a Black Source though. So we still have a turn or two. But it's one of those really rough games where you look at your hand and you're like, we would be running laps around their werewolf deck if we just had a second Black Source. Because we have 2-for-1 removal spells like Soul Transfer that's like remove and return one of your own cards if you cast it at the right time. They can dump all their mana into buffing the werewolf and make this a trade here, or they can use some kind of trick in their hand if they have one. So let's see. Well, that's wonderful. Absolutely swimmingly here. Everything's going absolutely swimmingly, I mean to say. +1/+0 first strike will do it to us, and another Blossom-clad werewolf, and that is not a Black Source, but they just cast 2 spells in 1 turn. So we are getting hit much less hard. Citizen's Crowbar isn't going to block anything well, so let's just gain some life off of Toshiro Umezawa here. I suppose it'll put an artifact on our board. Maybe I should have played Crowbar just to draw 2 off Roadside Reliquary and try to dig to the swamp here. A little too late now, I'm still going to sack it. Yikes. 2 cards in hand from our opponent. They're hitting for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 on board. Make it 9 if they double pump the Brigand, if they have nothing else to do. Looks like the case. There's the Black Source, literally like 1 turn too late, I think. I mean, I guess we gain 2. We can make sure it's nighttime because we can cast 2 spells this turn now. And we can make a blocker at the same time by making the spell that we cast, Citizen's Crowbar. So we go Citizen's Crowbar and we go Twisted Embrace so that our blocker is a 3/3, which is big enough to beat the Blossom-clad werewolves. Move a 3/3 against their 2/2/3s. Even if they kill our 3/3, they only have 2/2/3s coming in, so we go to 1. And then we get to flip Life of Toshiro Umezawa as a 2/3 creature. Child of the Pack is definitely what's drawing removal here, as is Kessig Naturalist. Okay, well, we found our 2 removal targets for our 2 removal spells. So we flip our Memory of Toshiro. We can Soul Transfer for full value. That returns a creature, Planeswalker from grave to hand. We'll have 4 white mana up after we do this. 4 white mana up. We can cast Circumvent or Spirited Companion, or we could grab Naomi for later. I think we're supposed to grab Naomi for later. Problem with grabbing Naomi means the next turn we cast Naomi, we can't double spell, so they're just going to flip that. They're going to have a 3/3 and 2 4/5s. And then Naomi's not going to block it, but we'll have to make double blocks that aren't great. I'm going to grab Circuit Mender, actually. So I can just cast this right now. I'm going to guess I could have taken Naomi and then just cast Assassin's Zeke next turn and just not even worried about Naomi doing anything. Until later. But Circumventer seems pretty good here too. I'm very happy with this. Just get rid of the Werewolf Lord at the cost of our 2/2 citizen, because the Crowbar gets to keep moving around and buffing something else. So it's kind of like just losing a 2/2, not losing a 3/3. Alright, they're going to pass turn to flip to Knight. They've got a couple 3/4s down, but no biggie here. We've got 3/4s to block with. And an Assassin's Ink at the ready at instant speed. I'm not going to use that on a werewolf here, because I would much rather hold on to this in case they get a big threat later, which is very possible in their deck. They have cards like Helena and Elena that just keep putting counters on their board every time they go to combat. They have some very, very big threats in that deck. Alright. I should have put this equipment onto Memory of Toshiro and not the Circuit Mender, so that Circuit Mender would die in the double block. Not the right choice. Alright, Lord of the Ulvenwald isn't a bad target for Assassin's Ink, but I still want to wait here. Just in case. If they do draw into Helene and Elena, they will cast them pre-combat, because they have a trigger when they go to combat. So give them one final opportunity to draw into that. It looks like they haven't, so let's blow up the Lord of the... Oh, well, I could just block it, actually, and kill both their creatures here if they don't have a trick. The problem is I do have to spend the removal here to survive, but that's fine because I was going to spend it either way that turn. They have a Snarling Wolf, essentially a 3/3, not big enough for our 3/4. And then a Hungry Ridge Wolf. They can attack with both of them, and one of them is going to hit us down to 1 life. Alright, well, I guess we gain 1 more life off this Scoured Barrens. And then we pass the turn. Could sack Citizen's Crowbar to blow up the Circuit Mender as a last-ditch effort to draw something. If our opponent ever tries to kill Circuit Mender, then, I mean, I guess if they're going to kill it anyway, then there's no reason to make it shoot itself. Go down to 2 life here. Weaver of Blossoms as a 3/4. That is lethal if we can't draw into something. Banishing Slash is... it's something. We have to destroy the tapped creature, so we can't kill the bigger, better one, but we are still going to get another blocker out of this and get rid of one of their attackers. That'll work for now. Pack Song Pup, that's a problem. That gets bigger every single combat step, so it will eventually pretty quickly become too big. And there's Twisted Embrace to deal with it, though. Now we get to really suit up this Samurai token. Excellent draws here these last couple turns, which is really nice. Except for the little chunk of lands that we hit. Don't know if it quite makes up for how long it took to get the second black source, but it's very close. Alright, now we have a legitimate threat on board. Hit them for 4 every turn while holding up a blocker. Outland Liberator, that is devastating. And even if we kill that, they can blow up Touch the Spirit Realm and just get their other copy, because they can spend 1 mana in response to sacrifice it. That is so rough. We've got more lands here. I mean, we attack in here. If we attack in, what's the worst thing that can happen here? They blow up our equipment so that they kill our Knight token off of just blocking. That's pretty bad, but I think it's honestly worse if they get to untap with that Frenzied Trapbreaker. Because if we make this attack here, sure, they can do that and kill both our equipment and our 2/2 Knight. But if we just pass the turn, they can attack with the Trapbreaker, on the attack trigger, blow up Touch the Spirit Realm to get a second copy of the Liberator, sacrifice the second copy of the Liberator to just blow up the equipment anyway, and have a third way to destroy something. So if they want to get a tricksy little 2-for-1 here, they got it, because they're just going to get a 3-for-1 next turn anyway. And yeah, that's just game now. That is so rough. I can't believe they put this in the Precons when they're like designed to play against each other. This just gives the deck of all artifacts and enchantments a horrible matchup. Rough. I mean, this deck is pretty good. I mean, we nearly stabilized here, nearly took things, even after quite a lot of time just being unable to cast like half our hand, and then quite a lot of time of just racking up some lands here. So I think we still made a pretty great effort for how we ended up drawing. So I'll take it here. We did our best. Whoa, they're gonna blow up the Citizen's Crowbar? Not gonna blow up Touch the Spirit Realm? Okay. I mean, maybe we have a bit of a shot then. That's why I didn't immediately blow up Howling Moon, is then I wouldn't have 2 blockers and I would have died on the spot. So I didn't even acknowledge that as a possibility, even though it technically was. We could have blown up Howling Moon before they got the +2/+2 trigger, but we're at 2 life against 2 creatures. We can't do that. Well, we've got a shot still, actually, because our opponent did not see the Touch the Spirit Realm line there. So we get to get rid of their threats, and we drew 2 blockers. And one of them is lifelink. This is actually huge. Oh, forgot double spelling gives them another creature. That's hopefully okay. If they can't kill our lifelinker, that's okay. If they can, then we are dead. Okay, buff Weaver Blossoms, it's a 4/5. I guess if I didn't double spell here, then it would still be nighttime. So the Weaver Blossoms would be attacking as a 5/6, which I couldn't block well, so I think, yeah, I did have to do that. And now I think I'm just buffing Lysa for a huge lifelink swing, rather than holding up the blocker. And then I'm reconfiguring. So we hit them down to 1. So as long as we survive this turn, then we win in the sky. Oop, I need to deconfigure their unattach. Alright. We've got 1 chump blocker. If they don't deal with Lysa, they die next turn. They go to 2 life. Buff the 2/2 so that both attack in without losing a creature here. We'll take that chump block to be safe because of Lysa's ability to just get our creature back to our hand anyway. Buff Lysa. Shameful Centipede. Not necessary to buff her again, we'll just send in. And we did it! Okay, I really thought that second Outland Liberator was just the nail in the coffin for us, but we got really lucky there that we managed to pull off a block to get rid of that. And of course, draw a card during our chump block with our Circuit Mender. I definitely didn't play this game the best I could have. We should have equipped early in the game. I had a choice between equipping to the Circuit Mender or equipping to the non-Circuit Mender creature. And I really should have thrown it on the other one. I don't remember which creature it was. But yeah, the Circuit Mender could have died a long time ago to draw that card. But other than that, I mean, that was impressive stuff from the white-black deck. We made it through some Outland Liberators that were quite frightening, and some big stuff from our opponents. So that will be our second win in the book. Let's see what our prize is. Random rare reward the second time around is a Cave of the Frost Dragon. Not a bad card at all. Definitely nice to have a playset of all the rare and mythic lands for your mana bases for whatever format you're interested in. Just having all of those options open. So 1 win to go till we get our mystery cosmetic rewards. So let's see what our final deck shall be. Final deck that I'll be playing today is going to be the Spellweaver deck. This is the blue-red spells deck. It's using a lot of the cards from Innistrad Midnight Hunt and Crimson Vow from their blue-red strategies. I had a lot of fun drafting both of those. The blue-red strategy in Innistrad Crimson Vow managed to use cards like Wandering Mind. That'll give you some good card draw and an evasive threat if you had a lot of instants and sorceries, which was pretty fun. Reckless Impulse is pretty fun card draw as well. And then the cards from Innistrad Midnight Hunt that I really like in this deck are the Seize the Storms. This was really fun to draft around. You could play these 3-color flashback piles, just like blue, green, red, and then late in the game, you could start using this to get some big elementals. So some pretty fun, pretty cool cards in here. When it comes to the rares and mythics we'll be getting to play around with, we've got Lear, Disciple of the Drowned, which is a super powerful card. Memory Deluge is another great one. Other than that, just some basic stuff like Vadrik and Geist Flame Reservoir. Certainly less exciting, but still a very cool deck. So we'll finish it off with some blue-red spell slinging. Alright, here we are in the final round with the blue-red Spellslingers deck this time around. This hand looks pretty weak by like constructed deck standards, but I mean, I'd keep this every time unlimited, so I mean, I'll go for it. Burn Down the House is the big part of this hand, where we can potentially get our opponent to overextend on the board, just put too many of their cards out to where we can blow up 2 or 3 of them with our 1 card here. So we're probably going to focus on getting maximum value out of the burn down the house. I might even just pass turn in the early game and let them really curve out on us. Gathering Throng coming up. Yeah, we're just going for a turn 5 burn on the house. Vadrik could be pretty fun with it, if we can get Vadrik to 6 toughness before we cast it. What about Spell Rune Painter? If we can flip to Night... Yeah, let's go Spell Rune Painter, because this can hold off some damage off of us, potentially. And if it's nighttime, the Spell Rune Painter will survive the burn down the house. So this is a way that we can commit something to the board to potentially block if we need to, while also potentially not losing our creature to our Wrath effect. Now here, if I block like this, this probably means they have a combat trick in hand. And I would much rather they just play more creatures this turn than spending their mana on combat tricks. So I'm actually just going to not block, even though I could. Because I want to get them to dump all of their creatures out, rather than spending mana to buff a creature here. Alright, so Consider is excellent here, because it gives us something to cast, while still just passing the turn to flip the Spell Rune Painter. Now, we gotta hope our opponent can't cast 2 spells in 1 turn. If they can cast 2 spells in 1 turn, then our Spell Rune Howler will die. It will not survive burn down the house. And Gathering Throng was also a pretty good card to have against our Wrath, unfortunately, because it drew them a bunch of cards, make sure they can survive it. Fortunately, they might spend the mana on a combat trick here. So it is looking like Spell Rune Howler will die to the Wrath effect, but at least so will their whole board. +2, +7. Okay, well, Celebrity Fencer really survives here. We can make sure that our Spell Rune Howler survives as well with Consider, but it doesn't matter, because it's not going to kill it, and then it will just die during our turn. But we should still cast Consider anyway. Let's see what cards we get. I don't think... Well, I actually do kind of want a 6th land. We've got a lot of mana here, and we're going to have Lear letting us recast things from Grave. We've got a lot of expensive stuff. I guess we need more Instants and Sorceries for Lear to do anything, because all we have is 3 creatures after burn in the house. So actually, sure, we'll get rid of that land, actually. Alright, Thirst for Discovery is nice. That's my kind of card. Alright, so because Spell Rune Howler is going to die to the Wrath anyway, we don't need to cast Thirst to save it, but still going to do that, so we can draw into some goodies. Alright, we got plenty of lands to choose to discard here, which is wonderful. Drop a red source, I suppose. Alright, let's Wrath the board. Nice and simple. Just blow it all up. Probably should have attacked first. They might have let 2 damage in there. Alright, another Gathering Throng from our opponents. Hopefully they're running out of stuff because we don't have too many great blockers here. Alright, that's it. Just a Gathering Throng here. So let's get Vadrik and a Festival Crasher out so we have some blockers. And then we play Swiftwater Cliffs. I could play an island instead, hold up Consider. I guess that plays around a +2/+2 combat trick on Gathering Throng, because then we block with Festival Crasher and make it 3 power. Sure. Yeah, we'll play the island this turn, I guess. Alright. And then even if we don't need to cast Consider as a trick, we can cast it anyway just to set up our next draw. And it's also really good with Lear. Halo Fountain. That is a pretty threatening play. They need to untap creatures for it to work though, so they have to attack in. Let their Gathering Throng die to get a 1/1 here. If this is another +2/+7 trick, we're in trouble. +2/+2 is small enough that Consider will still kill Gathering Throng. And I don't think I want another Festival Crasher here. It would be okay, but not great. Arcane Infusion, that is what I'm looking for here. Alright, they're going to scoop them up. I was going to say, I'm probably going to flip to Knight here, actually. Might be a little risky because we'd only have one creature on board, but then we make Vadrik a little bit bigger. We Arcane Infusion during their turn, draw our next card, but our opponent sees the writing on the wall. They've got one card in hand. We have 5. They're probably a tiny bit more scared than they need to be because we do have 3 lands, but it is likely to go pretty in our favor, with Lear being one of the cards in hand. That'll be very powerful later on. So that's going to do it. That'll be 3-0. Let's see what our mystery cosmetic reward is before I log off for the day. And the final reward is going to be Wing Shield Agent. Just a Parallax card style, so nothing super spicy there, but still always nice to get some free stuff out of these midweek Magic events. And these are pretty nice precons. They're definitely very, limited deck power level. They're like a good draft deck or a good sealed deck, but they all include 1 or 2 pretty nice rares or mythics. If you don't have any in your collection yet, then it'll be pretty cool once these launch on Arena. I'm not 100% sure with the way that things are going this year when these are going to launch. I think usually they used to put them on, I think they put them on right when rotation happens. So I think that these are going to go on Arena in September once Dominaria United hits, but it's also possible they put them out when the core set hit in the middle of summer. We're not getting a set in the middle of summer this year, at least not a standard set. We're getting the Alchemy set of Alchemy Baldur's Gate Horizons. So maybe these will hop on when Alchemy Baldur's Gate Horizons hits, who knows. But probably September is when these launch. Other than that, yeah, that was a fun time. Got some free stuff. Not bad at all. Some pretty swingy games. Definitely all of them felt like we were under a lot of pressure at different points, and multiple of them I thought I was definitely going to lose at different times. So not a bad event at all, but that is going to end today's video. As always, if you enjoy these videos and you'd like to see more, make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe to let the YouTube algorithm know to send some more of these videos to you in your recommended feeds. But yeah, that's going to do it for me today. I'll be back again very soon with some more limited, some more Strixhaven and Streets of New Capenna Alchemy Premier drafts. And we've got Theros Premier drafts coming back next week. That should be pretty cool. So once again, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you again soon for some more Magic Arena.